Imagine walking through a silent forest in 1944. You hear nothing, until the man beside you drops. No sound, no warning, just a single shot from somewhere you can't see. Panic sets in, your heart pounds, and you realize you're being hunted by a ghost. Welcome to SB Tells, where we bring history's forgotten shadows into the light. This was the terrifying reality for Allied soldiers in World War II. Not by tanks, not by bombers, but by something far more precise: the German sniper. In this video, we uncover the hidden stories of Nazi Germany's most feared sharpshooters, soldiers trained to disappear, strike fear, and kill with terrifying accuracy. These aren't glorified heroes, they're deadly, disciplined, and controversial figures, and their stories have been buried until now. The sniper has always been a figure of mystery, but during World War II, the Germans took the concept to another level. From the freezing woods of the Eastern Front to the shattered cities of France, German snipers became living nightmares for Allied troops. So how did these soldiers become so feared? It began with their training. Nazi Germany didn't just train marksmen, they crafted predators. Selected from the best shooters in the Wehrmacht, snipers underwent rigorous courses focused on patience, camouflage, terrain mastery, and psychological warfare. Some could lie motionless for over 72 hours, in snow, in mud, even under fire. Their rifles? Modified Carabiner 98K bolt actions fitted with advanced Zeiss scopes. These scopes were so well made that Allied snipers scavenged them from fallen Germans. Paired with armor-piercing rounds, a German sniper could take out a target over 800 meters away, through trees, helmets, or vehicle glass. But it wasn't just the tools, it was the mindset. These men were taught to think like hunters. Their mission wasn't just to kill, it was to break morale. One shot was often enough to stall an entire Allied patrol. Soldiers froze, unsure where the bullet came from, and that fear was exactly the point. Take Matthias Hetzenauer, for example. Born in Austria, he became one of Germany's deadliest snipers with 345 confirmed kills on the Eastern Front. Hetzenauer didn't see himself as a killer, he claimed to be a protector of his fellow soldiers. But make no mistake, his presence on the battlefield changed the tempo of every engagement. Then there was Sepp Allerberger, another sniper who used not just bullets, but fear. Known for crafting his own camouflage and setting traps, Allerberger operated deep behind Soviet lines. His memoirs reveal a brutal reality. Sniper warfare was psychological as much as physical. In occupied France, snipers were stationed in bombed-out buildings, bell towers, and even sewers. When Allied forces landed on D-Day, it wasn't just machine guns they feared. It was the quiet crack of a distant rifle. Entire units had to clear buildings block by block, terrified of the unseen threat above. Some German snipers even became infamous among the Allies. Nicknames like the Shadow in the Church or the Butcher of the Woods were whispered between soldiers. Whether these were real men or myths, the fear was real. But behind every sniper was a war machine. German high command understood their value. Snipers were deployed to defend strategic positions, cover retreats, and assassinate officers. In Stalingrad, snipers were used like chess pieces, placed to control movement across streets and alleys. And unlike other soldiers, snipers often worked in pairs. One shooter, one spotter. This teamwork made them even more lethal. While one scoped targets, the other watched for danger, calculated distance, and predicted movement. Together, they could terrorize a battlefield for days. But with this came controversy. Many German snipers operated under the SS, the feared paramilitary force of the Nazi regime. Some were trained in ideological warfare, taught that their enemy was less than human. And that led to atrocities. Soviet reports speak of snipers targeting medics, of wounded soldiers being baited only to be shot again. Whether propaganda or truth, these stories painted snipers as inhuman, not just warriors, but monsters. But while German snipers terrified the battlefield, they were not invincible. Allied forces quickly learned to adapt. They developed counter-sniper tactics, deployed specialized squads trained to hunt the hunters, and began using smoke screens and suppressing fire to dislodge sniper nests. Spotting scopes, binoculars, and even mirrors were used to catch glints from enemy optics. In many ways, the sniper war became a duel, a brutal, personal game of patience and nerves where only one man would walk away, and sometimes neither did. Take the harrowing sniper battles of Stalingrad. Not just dramatized in films like Enemy at the Gates, but rooted in brutal reality. Urban warfare gave snipers endless hiding places, behind rubble, inside drain pipes, even camouflaged under corpses. Soviet and German snipers hunted each other in a deadly hide-and-seek that could last days. One wrong breath, one glint of light, and it was over. It wasn't just men pulling triggers either. Germany, out of sheer desperation, eventually conscripted younger and younger recruits, including teenagers, into their sniper ranks. 16, even 15-year-olds trained to wait in silence and deliver fatal shots. On the Eastern Front, it wasn't unusual to find young snipers frozen in snow, their last breath escaping as a silent puff of steam. Some stories are too disturbing to forget. In the ruins of Warsaw, Polish resistance fighters reported the presence of a German female sniper, known among locals only as D. Hexy, the witch. Dressed in white, she was said to strike during snowstorms, killing with terrifying precision before disappearing into the frost. No name was ever confirmed, no body ever recovered. But dozens claimed to have seen her. And what about the psychological cost of being a sniper? In the post-war years, psychologists began to study the minds of these solitary soldiers. Many snipers suffered severe PTSD. The stillness they mastered in war became a prison in peacetime. Some couldn't sleep. Others refused to speak about what they'd done. More than one was found dead by suicide, their rifles disassembled, locked away, as if trying to bury the part of themselves that pulled the trigger. Even today, some World War II snipers' names remain hidden, their records lost, their actions erased, in part because sniping remains controversial, walking the tightrope between military necessity and moral ambiguity. There's a reason so many stories focus on tanks, fighter pilots, and grand offensives. Snipers remind us of something more intimate. That war isn't always loud. Sometimes it's a whisper in the grass, a figure behind the glass of a shattered building, a single bullet that changes everything. They also remind us that fear, true fear, often has no face. You never saw the man who pulled the trigger, you only saw what he left behind. And that's why in every forest cleared, in every town liberated, Allied troops searched obsessively for snipers, not just to survive, but to regain control of their own minds. Because long after a sniper's bullet stopped flying, his presence lingered in the form of doubt, hesitation, dread. It haunted every step. Even decades later, veterans recounted their experiences with snipers not as tales of valor, but of terror. Some refused to talk about them at all. Others cried mid-sentence, unable to forget the friends they lost to a silent, invisible killer. So when we talk about war, let's not forget these hidden figures. Not to glorify, but to understand. Because every soldier who died from a sniper's bullet had a story, a life, a family, and in that single silent shot, an entire future vanished. We must remember both sides of history, the hunter and the hunted. Because history isn't just a collection of facts, it's a collection of choices. And in the shadows of those choices are stories that still echo. Because sometimes the scariest parts of war are the ones you never see. If this story blew your mind, don't forget to like, comment,